So I want to echo a lot of what Vipond and Matthew have said. Um, and really, we're going to talk a little bit about truth, trust, and storytelling. And I'm going to tell the story because honestly, I'm not an expert. I've never had any training in this. So unfortunately, like you're getting a bit of information based on experience, not on deep knowledge. But let's see if we can get some insights out of that nonetheless, because there are some deep insights. Make sure to hit unmute. That's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Have a good day. Oh, actually, I do have a little bit more, if you'll indulge me. Um, so really, I just want to, and this is going to echo a lot of what Matthew said. And we do live in this era now where the world is full of untruths. It's full of basically find your own facts. And if you have a narrative, you can go out there and find the facts to fit your narrative. I think it's quite ironic. I was talking with my kids about this when we were out walking in the wilderness a couple days ago, and we were talking about, is the internet a good thing or a bad thing? And my daughters are like, well, it can give it, now you have the whole knowledge of all of civilization at your fingertips, but the reality is you also have the full non-knowledge as well. And so we do live in a place where, you can go on Fox News and have all of your preconceived notions underlined and validated, or you can go on any number of one of a number of websites to do that as well. So I want to make the argument that the truth has value. And when I say truth, I mean actual truth, truth based in science, truth based in deep knowledge, and that we need to re-elevate truth to something that we should be actively pursuing. And so, in the same way that commodities have value, metals, oil, food, we place a value on these goods. We need to place deep value on seeking deep truth. And here's where the storytelling comes in, because in June of 2021, our province and our political leaders, who are very adjacent to some of the right wing leaders around the world, including Europe and the United States, they decided that COVID was over. They said, we're going to have the best summer ever. They took away all protections for all people, and that included even so far as to saying that COVID positive fathers could be in the room while a newborn baby who's never been vaccinated, who's has basically no immune system, were born. It was a shocking time, and a lot of the people who worried about what this meant for society, we didn't know what to do. And so what we did is we gathered and we planned and we created something. We created something called Protect Our Province, Alberta. And basically, this was a series of briefings because the government had stopped their briefings. They'd actually gone on holidays, and they went from having daily to thrice weekly to weekly briefings to no briefings at all. So the public had no sense of what was actually happening in the world. And we filled that space. We created and a lot of the entire province paid attention to. We got together sometimes daily, sometimes 5 times a week, and we talked about what the situation on the ground was. We were able to fill the space with talk of airborne transmission, exponential growth, how to protect your family, what long COVID is, why we should care. And we became a trusted voice for the entire province. Like all good things, it didn't last forever. We filled our space and we moved on. The mainstream media decided that we were too, quote unquote, radical by talking about things like airborne transmission. And so a lot of our voices ended up being quieter than we would have liked.
30
But for
seconds.
a moment in time, it showed us the power of what community and filling that empty space where truth used to lie. So, a couple of final thoughts on this. The first is that we were very, very cautious of always telling the truth because trust is built up over months and years, but it can be lost in seconds if you slip and start to compromise your values. And that was always a fundamental truth. The other thing I want to mention is that I think the hard part of this story is that because there are so many untruths, because there are so many lies out there, it is really hard for a layperson public to find out who is the purveyor of truth. And I don't have an answer to that. I wish I could, but maybe that's something we can tease out. Which truth is truth and why are truths maybe more truthy than other truths. So finally, with some final thoughts, this ability to just think about faith, if I just believe in the untruth, it'll get me through. It functions in the good times, but when the bad times come, that's when things come crashing down. The reality of physics, chemistry, economics, biology, all of the hard sciences will always override untruths. And so I worry that with this poly crisis, in particular the climate crisis, we're approaching this point where our reality will become smacking down. And so we do need to acknowledge the value of truth.